I am, as a matter of fact.
Science. Go, change. No problem. Perfect.
Everything's gonna be all right.
My name is Archit Agrawal. I'm from the north of India, and my primary hobby is that I like playing the tabla, and I think Lewis can give you good evidence of that, like anecdotal evidence. And
I live next door. He's very good.
He lives next door to me. And I think Lewis is a great podcast editor primarily because he's a great writer, and I can attest to that. He transferred his book on my Kindle.
What kind of stories do you naturally gravitate towards? Action, mystery, romance, etc. What genre do you favor?
I think that has changed as I grew up. I think when I first started reading, I gravitated mostly towards fiction stories. And books like Naughty by Black Bletton. And then at some point through my life, I was attracted to mystery stories more. Of course, they were all children's stories still, so like the famous five, Hardy Boys and stuff. And then before coming to UWC, I was a little bit more attached to science fiction. So a book called Translation State. It's a very nice book. And the Invisible Man, and yeah, those kinds of books. And now I'm towards, because of my interest in global politics, I'm reading books more about my country and about its history and the lives of its people. So right now the book I'm reading is called Heart Lamp, and it's about the life of religious minority women in South India. So yeah, I'm reading more of that right now.
So more political fiction.
Yeah, not political fiction necessarily. Like the book is about the daily lives, the daily suffering that they have to go through.
I see. Okay, so you mentioned your interest in global politics.
Yes.
And you've been reading works sort of like that jogs or is centered around that notion to get to know your own country better.
Yes.
May I ask, what did you take out of those stories you read? Did you really get to know your country better? And if so, could you give me some examples?
I think I did because if I may mention religion, Islam is a minority in our country, and women who are born into that custom have problems that they may face, and I think especially reading a book about South India, I've never been there my whole life, and there is subtle differences in language about how they refer to the same things in for example our language, which is Hindi, and their language is another group of languages called Dravidian languages. So for example, women usually cover their heads with a veil, and that is called gungat in our language, but in their language I think it's the book mentioned Saregu, and I think that's something I took away. So maybe learning a bit more about their language and their lives in the community.
I have two follow-up questions actually. The first one, do you agree? Because you've been reading surrounding religion, Islam, and sexism, and the different traditions imposed upon the various communities there. Now obviously that belongs to if you think about it, most things belong to global politics. Now, regarding this in retrospect, would you say that all art, no matter if it's literary or non-literary, is political?
Well, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just that you make it for pleasure. Like the kind of art you would make at for example, a therapy session won't be necessarily like political. Like if you're just drawing random lines, of course it would like, I mean, there's like a gradient you can follow.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, some art can be at this side of the gradient, some art can be at this side of the gradient. So it really depends on which side of the gradient you are on. So for example, if I'm talking about going for art on a therapy session, if you're like literally, it's allowing you to release your pain, and if that pain is politically related somehow, then yes, it can be political. But if you're someone who is like very happy and just you're drawing random lines on paper, or you're like random words, doesn't necessarily conform to that political image of art.
So you would say that your answer depends on the context in which that art is given.
Yeah, and also I would like to include the role of technology in this, because an AI like Endel, it's a music AI, it generates like random patterns of music. And like in modern music, like for example rock, if you take it has it has a lot of political messages, but something that the Endel AI would create does not have a political motive, does it? And also it, like for example, the more technical the art gets, the lesser the role of politics there is. So for example, if I practice my own music and if I just take that thing on its own, then it's just like your technical mastery, and it does not have any political message attached to it. I read about, and then you can also like attach politics to there. For example, I was reading like the era of 1919s in Pakistan, which was a era of like religious like oppression on art forms, and there at that time, sorry, can I slow down?
Yeah, of course.
So if I remember what I read correctly, at that time there was a very famous classical singer, and she sang a ghazal, a ghazal by a very famous political writer. When at that time women were not allowed to sing or dance, and she invited the Prime Minister of Pakistan in that concert, and she sang that politically charged ghazal, and that ghazal was called, I think, Lazim Hai Hum Dekhenge. It's like it's set in stone that we'll see. So yeah, so you can even attach politics to that kind of like technical mastery. It really like depends.
I see. So you mentioned technology.
Yeah.
To spin off from that point, right? Technology, it's a trademark of human progression, right?
Yeah.
Now, I want to compare old art and new art, historical art and contemporary art. Contemporary, I mean, from the beginning of the 20th century, so 1900s plus. Now, like, you can answer this with context from your own background or like the world as a whole. Now, which do you think is more political? Do you think old art is more political, or do you think new art is more political? You can define political any way you like, but make sure to define it. Now, personally, right, for me, old art is usually more towards the religious side of things, right? And if religion back then is on par with politics, if you look at European history, then old art in this case is basically art done for a very specific people, specific group of people, specific group of community that depict a very specific thing.
Okay.
So most prominently it's for the church, or it's for the aristocrats and nobles who understand biblical references. Now for me that's old art. You could say what old art is to you, but basically which one do you think is more politically saturated?
I mean, there are different sides to it. So by art, what do you mean? Like any form of art, or is just like drawing or painting?
Any form. Like define art however you wish.
Okay.
What would be your definition of art, Archit?
My definition of art?
Yes.
My definition of art is anything which has a pattern to it, and the human does it for a particular purpose, either to satisfy themselves, send a message. I think it's also really hard to define what it is, but I would consider any expression of creativity as art.
Any expression of creativity.
Yeah. And like you mentioned technology, right? You asked me that in the context of technology. I think historically, referring to my own background, the art that I know was kind of religious, because all our traditional songs are in praise of God, and sometimes, like a lot of times, it's also between lovers and stuff. So yeah, sometimes it was religious, but it didn't have to be. As I told you, it could also be about romance.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, but at that time, I think the art that was practiced, like if I'm just referring to my own country, it was either in temples or in the courts of kings.
So again, it's art for a very specific audience.
Very specific group of people, if you're talking about art with high amounts of technical mastery. And then, of course, you had communal songs that had a very simple rhythm to them. You could sing them anywhere. Now even they are considered to be technically hard to master, but that's a different issue. And I think if I start talking about technology here as we go to like a modern time, so I think art at some point maybe stopped being so like politically influenced, because with technology you can experiment more. You can add effects to it. I think people experimented with that a lot, and the sentiments were the same. So if I'm talking about my country, the person who did those kind of experiments was a South Indian musician called A.R. Rahman, and he added all kinds of like digital effects to his music, and the relation with politics was almost as much as I'm talking about before, like modernity arrived. But nowadays, like philosophically thinking, I feel like because of the like advent of AI and stuff, I think when a human is creating art, they ought to have something they want to tell the world.
So a message then.
Yeah, message.
So you would say modern art is defined by its message.
Yeah, because now creating art is not just pattern making anymore. Because pattern making can be done by computers very, very easily.
Earlier on, you mentioned art is an artificial like object of creativity that has a pattern/rhythm to it.
Yeah.
However, you just said that patterns are now being replaced by AI. So is there like a fallacy in your definition, or do you care to explain?
I mean, I'm just talking about the purpose of creating art. So, like before the advent of AI, you could create art even when you didn't have any purpose to create, right? Now when you create it, like for example, if I'm talking about myself as a producer, I can just use AI to create a song for me. But will that song have any meaning? No.
But you're the one who made it.
No, I'm the one who instructed the AI to make it.
So would you say the architect who drew the blueprint is not responsible for the construction of the building? Would you agree to the claim that, let's say, you have an architect, all right, who drafts a plan up, the blueprints, right, everything up for a skyscraper. Okay, I forgot the name, but like a skyscraper. He drafts it and he sends this blueprint to his workers. His workers, over the course of years, finishes this building. But in the end, his workers' names are not on there, and the building is named after him, the architect. Would you say that he has earned this? Would you say that this is his creation, the architect's, I mean?
I think definitely it's his creation, because his workers were just putting it up, right? Like the bricks, they were putting the bricks on the foundation. But yeah, it's definitely his creation, and also like if you're talking about if you're bringing morality into this, that's also the worker's creation. It's the worker's hard work. But then design-wise, it's his creation, and that's the difference, right? You still had drum machines in 1980s that could create those patterns for you, but you were the person designing those drum, those things. So it's like. So your architect story, let's go to medieval era. And so it's like saying, it's like a king asking the architect to design a building for him. And a king can tell him the basic attributes. I want it to be this big. I want it to be wide and stuff. Right? But then it's the architect who like thinks about it and says, okay, these are the blueprints, and which one do you like? So will the building, now it's the question, should the building be named after the king or after the architect?
That's right.
So right now, so the relationship you are talking about, the architect and its workers, that was the situation when this technology was growing up. And now the relationship I'm talking about, the king and the architect, is the situation now. So I'm the king.
I was actually going to ask you that for the following question. I was going to ask you, now what if a millionaire funds the architect? Whose name should be on the skyscraper?
I think it's still the architect, because he's the person thinking.
But without his sponsor, his generous sponsor, right? Without him or without them, he would have never built this building. It would have never existed.
It would have. Well, no, I mean that's not true, because like the millionaire is contacting the architect.
That's right.
Because he needs a beautiful building. If the architect is not there, the millionaire himself doesn't have the skills to build that. And so I think the millionaire is at a loss, because the architect can just decline. I'm sorry.
I see.
Yeah.
It's a very, very interesting sentiment that I could agree to. What was my next question again? This is very good. Okay, wait. So I'll give you another scenario.
Sure.
Let's say an artist, all right? The most famous artist in the world, known for his kindness and generosity, and so he has everything in skill, everything in creativity, everything, right? He's revolutionized art. He's like Van Gogh, but like famous when he was alive. An artist like that. Imagine. Simply picture the man, all right? The man as in like androgynous. Picture the person. Now, they create art, a piece of art, right? With AI. Is that still art? The most artistic person in this world, who is generally agreed upon to be the most artistic, creates an art through something generally agreed to not be artistic. Is the thing generated art?
Could be or could be not.
Okay,
Because
depending.
Depends on how much effort the person spent tweaking it.
I see.
If, for example, so the artwork is like the prompt you give to the AI. If it's like just like, okay, I want this to be blue and round and stuff. I don't think the person should be credited as its artist. But if it's like the prompt is a very detailed description. Okay, I want it to be exactly like this, and if it's not like this, I'll give you more prompts until you make it exactly like I want it to be.
Interesting. So what you're saying is that
it's like, again,
if it's if the quality of it being art, that would depend on the speed and effort of construction.
Yeah, the effort of construction. Like, for example, if I tell you, like, same with your architect and worker example.
Okay.
If the architect were to say, yeah, I just want this, okay, I have this square, like this very basic shape, I want you to fill this up, he says to his workers. And the workers fill it up however they want.
Yes.
Okay, one place this is round, this is square, this is this. Then I would not say he's a good architect. He's not an architect because he's doing nothing with the design. But if he instructs his workers to say, okay, I want it exactly like this, and if you do it wrong, I'll cut your salary. What
if he's being like super, okay, no, in your example it won't be. Okay, let's give you another example.
Yeah.
Then. So you just agreed that the quality of art depends on the effort of construction.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Now, let's put the very elusive subject of talent into the equation.
Okay.
Now, let's give a very extreme example, right? Let's say a very talented man draws a horse, and a man who lacks talent draws a horse. The very talented man draws it in 4 strokes, right? 4 simple strokes. He doesn't even think about it, just 4 strokes, and the spirit, the outline, the shape, and the movement of the horse is all captured beautifully.
Yeah.
While the man without talent, while they spent years, decades honing their skills, they spent 40 minutes working on this horse with very tiny detailed etching and only managed to draw what seemed like a half-assed horse. Would you say that both are art? Or would you say that the talentless man made the thing the talentless man made is more art than what the talented man made?
Let me think about this.
Let's use the architect example again. Let's say there's 2 architects designing the same thing, right? One architect, no, not the same thing. Let's say there's 2 architects, right? One goes to parties every single day, and only spends 2 minutes, like in 1 week, like scribbling down a little plan and then tossing it to his workers. The plan's super detailed. Like, although he scribbled it down like thoughtlessly, right? And his workers, following his plan, every single step of it, they build a magnificent skyscraper, Burj Khalifa, let's say. And then on the other hand, there's a super dedicated architect who probably shouldn't have been an architect, who spends every day toiling away at blueprints, right? Drafts one up, isn't satisfied with it, scrunches it up, tosses it, drafts another one up, spends every day, and in the end, can only make a small cottage.
You're asking me who's a better...
Yes. Or like which creation is better? Because in your definition of art as defined by the effort of construction, then the talentless artist should have made a better piece of artwork than the talented one.
Okay, I think if you're giving me this scenario, I think the talented one is better because he knows exactly what he's doing, and that's why he doesn't have to spend that much time that much time scribbling up that piece of plan.
Yeah.
And of course, the not talented one doesn't know what he's doing, so he has to redo it 1,000 times until he gains that experience. So later in life, he knows exactly what he's doing, so he draws better. And I think in the AI example that I gave, if you know exactly what you're asking the AI to draw for you or make for you, then I think like it should be credited to you, because you know exactly, okay, this was the outcome. But the problem is if you're just if, for example, if the talented man drew up those scribbles and then gave it to his workers, and he didn't know how it would turn out, and by chance those workers were nice enough to make a good skyscraper out of it, and I think the workers should be given more credit than these.
I see. Okay.
Because if he knew what exactly it would look like, then I think it should be credited.
I see. So it depends on artistic vision then.
Yeah, on the vision, like if you're getting out exactly what you want,
I see.
or not.
So you're conceding that the ends justify the means, or is it the intentions that justify the ends?
It's a bit vague, the terminology. So
okay, so would you say that one's intentions is more important than the final result, the final product of their creative process? Say I envision greatness versus someone who envisions nothing, yet accidentally, be it with luck or talent or chance, which can substitute each other, make something great.
you envision greatness for yourself.
Now I envision greatness in the thing that I would create, yet what I create is hardly great. Versus someone who envisions nothing yet still accomplishes greatness.
Well, first of all, it I think really depends on public perception, because art is very subjective.
I see.
And I think if you envision greatness and you achieve nothing, then you're not a talented person. I'm sorry.
But should you keep doing this?
Yes, if you feel you can, and if you feel that one day you might be, because art is something to be practiced for a lifetime, in my opinion. And if you are able to do it, even though at a later point in life, then yes, continue with it. But as of now, if you envision something great, it doesn't turn out to be great, maybe you should check where your skills are. So, for example, same with the initial AI thing, which brought us on this discourse. If you envision, okay, the AI is going to draw this great thing for me, and my prompt is perfect, and then it doesn't turn out to be what you wanted, then there's some lack in your prompt making.
I see. That is very interesting idea. I think we milked everything we can out of this question. Let's move on. Do you prefer stories with clear morals, or ones that leave you unsure?
Ones that leave me a bit unsure.
Okay, so you like morally ambiguous stories.
Yes.
Why?
Because I want to think about it. I don't want someone to tell me what was right, what was wrong. I need to judge the characters myself.
So you want more personal agency in your interaction with a story?
Yeah.
Do you play video games?
Yes, I do sometimes.
Would you say that they offer you more space for your own judgments than a set story, a book, a movie?
I think they don't, because I think, like, especially with video games that have a serial story, and you just have to press a button. Okay, grab this, put it here. For example, games like, I don't know, Far Cry 5. Those games, like, they're just making you, like,
They might as well be a book.
yeah, they might as well be a movie.
That's true.
Yeah, you're just taking that manual, that reel, and you're just turning it yourself. But games like, for example, Legend of Zelda, the newest one, Tears of the Kingdom, it allows you to, like, solve the puzzles yourself, and the outcome really depends on what decisions you take in the game. And for example, like,
But Legend of Zelda is I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, but would you say that Breath of the Wild is also similar to Tears of the Kingdom regarding story?
Kind of.
Okay, in that case, Legend of Zelda is a very morally unambiguous story. There's a very distinct evil, and there's a very distinct good in trying to save the
I
world.
know, but I'm talking about more of how the game's problem solving is structured.
I see.
So you could skip directly to the end of the chapter without doing anything in between if you find a clever way out of it, right?
Okay, so how does morality factor into problem solving?
I'm referring to, like, if you structure some things very simply. For example, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm a bit off track.
It's fine.
What was the question again?
It's, do you prefer stories with clear morals or ones that leave you unsure? You answered you prefer ones that leave you unsure.
Yeah. So I'm talking about, like, they allow you. I'm talking about, like, the space they give you. So because I've played these video games, like, the space. So I'm, like, using problem solving in video games as referring to the space they give you to decide for yourself what to do or what not to do, and I'm using it to, like, project it back to morality. So, like, the storybooks that give you space to decide who is the moral character, who is not the moral character.
I see.
Yeah.
You watched Lord of the Rings, right?
Lord of the Rings? No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, you should. I'm sure it will be a very interesting read. Structured on your answer. Now, what's more important to you in a story? World building, how the setting is structured, or character development? So basically, when you're reading a book, do you look for better settings or better characters?
I think I look for a balance.
A balance. Boring answer, but go on.
I mean, so I have this, like, a very interesting book called The Wall. It's a very obscure writer, and the premise of that story is that there's this city which has a very tall wall around it.
A city secluded in a wall.
Yeah. And the people who live inside this city have had no contact with the outside world whatsoever. So they don't know what's happening outside.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, the characters inside the story are numerous and they're gay and whatsoever. But, like, the premise the story has, it's so good that it makes you imagine, okay, what are they going to do, man?
Okay.
So.
But you're describing a book that focuses more on the setting than its characters.
It focuses on both. So, as I said, the characters are also interesting. But the premise is also interesting.
What you just said, though, was that the setting can serve to influence its characters.
It can.
Would you say that the opposite also applies? That the characters can also influence the larger setting?
Yeah,
well, let's.
For example, like, let me talk about a book called Translation State by Anne Leckie. I think the characters there are more interesting because that's set in a universe that consists of multiple books, and I have read only that book. And if I remember correctly, it was like there's this person, there's this central character is born an alien.
Oh.
Designed to be among humans.
I see.
And it's about his identity. What is he? An alien or the human? And he has lived among humans all his life. So he doesn't know that he is an alien.
Okay.
And me reading a book whose universe consists of multiple books wouldn't happen to know about how was the universe formed whatsoever. But in this story, the character really gives me the insight about what is happening in the universe.
I see. Interesting. Next question then. Would you rather watch a story with a wild twist or one that ends exactly how you expected?
A wild twist.
Explain.
Yeah. I mean, if a story ended how I exactly expected it would be, it would be pretty boring.
Let's say you didn't expect it to be like that from 10 minutes in. Let's say you, over the course of the entire story, you gradually, let's say for a character, right? You gradually become sure that they will die. And in the end, they do die. Or you expect, as you, most prominently in this case, as you watch a movie or you read a book, and you haven't read any previous excerpts on it or any official blips or synopses, you'll have a hard time deciding if it's a tragedy or a happy ending, right? And as you read through the book, right, you slowly gain a deeper understanding of the book. You gradually tell yourself, I think this might be a tragedy, or maybe this would be a happy ending. Maybe the two would get a good ending, but no, they don't do that, right? But I mean, if they did this and they did this, and they let's say, and they destroyed so many things, then their past will catch up to them, which would make this a tragedy, would it not? And at the end, it's revealed that yes, it actually is a tragedy. So your constant debate with yourself, it's like a constant debate with yourself, right? You stand on one side, you have an opinion on how it would end, but there's always a voice saying, no, I think it's actually this one. But in the end, your dominant voice wins, and that gives you satisfaction.
I mean, the only book I can remember that did this kind of thing to me is 1984.
I see.
And bro, in that book, you couldn't guess what was the ending, because in that book you think, okay, he's gonna overthrow everything, but at the end,
Do you?
What? Sorry?
I thought it's made very, very clear from the beginning that they're just nobodies. The only way they can actively rebel against the system is by thinking that they rebel against the system, and doing things that cause the system no damage. So everything they do is insignificant, and the ending sort of confirms it, does it not?
No, because look, the thing is, I was not that mature when I read it, and at that point, action for me was very important. So the actions they were doing, they were pointing toward, okay, we have a revolution coming up, but then they don't have a revolution. The person who was supposedly helping them turned out to be an agent. I mean, that kind of story really makes you shake.
Yes.
Yeah, so in that case, it didn't turn out to be like what I imagined. But for some stories like Christmas Carol, so like different books give you different feelings. So for example, a story like A Christmas Carol, it really is like about moral learning. And in that story it was pretty much expected, okay, this man will learn how to be more moral to people, more just to people around him, maybe more reflective about what he has done in his life. And what was interesting in that story was that the process of it happening. So even if sometimes, like, though I prefer stories with a twist, in stories which do not have such kind of a twist, I find the process of what happens, how the ends are reached, the expected ends are reached, more interesting. So, for example, let me take a story from my own culture. So it's a pretty like, if you look it from bird's eye view, it's a pretty boring plot. So like, two brothers fight each other, one wins.
Wait, that sounds like Bahubali. No. Okay.
That's our epic called Mahabharata.
An epic. Okay.
Yeah, and so the layout of it is pretty simple by today's standards. But the amount of detail the story gives you, okay, this brother fought this brother, and then this happened, and then how the other brother gained an army for himself, and how he was ousted from his kingdom, how the attention to detail in the process then generates that kind of interest.
So plot over character.
The plot over character, then like how detailed the plot is then.
In this case. Oh, okay. Go on.
Because in that story it's pretty clear who is evil and who is not evil. But then how the interplay turns out, it's pretty interesting.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice answer. You sort of answered the next question too, which is, are short stories or long, sprawling epics more memorable to you?
Personally, I prefer long ones because you have more attention of detail. Yeah.
Would you say, okay, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Would you say that the reason that a specific franchise is more popular than a standalone is because it's a franchise? If you just take one, it is because it's a franchise, it's because of its continuity.
Yeah.
Would you agree to the statement that if you take a single book or any singular books out of any franchise and compare it against a much lesser known book that is a singular standalone by itself, it wouldn't compare? Like, would you say that all franchises are composed, all very good, all of the best franchises, nearly all, is composed of mediocre books, and the only reason that they are so popular and they are so good is because of the continuity? Because because you can see your favorite character from the last book in the book you're reading now. Would you say that that's true?
I think that's very true. Because if you like, I'll talk a bit about movie franchises here.
Yeah.
So if I talk about Star Wars,
Yeah.
I think it's only the first 3 movies that people really get excited about. And the rest of the movies are like, okay, explanations of what happened in before that movie, or before those 3 main movies, or after those 3 main movies. Similarly with series like Star Trek. So their movies actually have a mediocre rating at the most. but then people like to delve into tiny details, the fan base, and that what's continues makes them going. And similarly for Dune, although I haven't read the series, what I have read online is people really refer to the first book, and maybe second or third, and the newer books which was written by the main writer's children.
So you would agree that while bad franchises, would you say agree to the difference between bad franchises and good franchises is that a bad franchise leeches off the hype that is built around its initial work.
Yes.
While the good franchise knows how to build up on the hype done by its initial work. Both are leeching off the hype of its initial work. It's just that the quote-unquote good one knows how to market that hype better.
I lost you at the end.
Okay. So both franchises are technically leeching off the hype built around the first work.
Yeah.
What's the only thing that separates them is that a supposedly good one just knows how to market better.
I think the good one, first of all, doesn't exhaust its means. So if you create a universe and then you create stories inside it, then at a point of time you start running out of stories that you can include within the world. And I think a good franchise would know that this is the time that I need to cut off.
That's a very interesting statement, Archit.
Yeah.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Would you say that a franchise, let's say a book franchise, a book series, a novel series, that composes of 7 books, right? Because 7 is the big number. Right? That composes of 7 books. Each book set in the same universe, but is set in very different times and tells their very own unique stories. Except they're all set in the same universe. Is the best sort of novel franchise for you?
I think it would be.
So you wouldn't want to see the protagonist of the first novel, let's say, in the third novel?
No.
Not even as a side character?
I mean, you might have some references to it, but not anywhere near the periphery.
I see.
That is something that happens with I refer to the Star Wars thing. I think that's what happens with the series like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was not really the central character the first 3 movies, and now the story is solely about him. And so a side character, it's good if it's the side character becoming the main character and you explore, and it's the best when you're completely starting a new one while having the same references. I think that's a good idea, something if I were to write stories I would work with.
All right.
Yeah.
Can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be check-in soon, so last question.
Yeah.
Do you think stories reflect reality or challenge it? Okay, I get that these two could be very similar, so let's mold the question a bit.
Okay.
What purpose do you think most stories, generalize them, right? What purpose do you think they serve? Do you think they serve more as a means of escape, of going off in your imagination, living a new life, a form to escape from the mundanity of the real world? That's one. Or do you think it's a reflection on the real world? Do you think it reflects to, I don't know, give warnings to political corruption or the other issues that is so evident and vivid in this world? which purpose do you think stories serve more? That or that?
I think it's mostly a reflection.
Mostly a reflection, would you explain?
Because you reflect on what you're experiencing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if in that reflection you want to explore another possibility, you write a story about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if in that reflection you want to reflect the reality of what is happening, how do you feel about it, then you write a story. It's all about reflecting what's happening around you and feeling the emotion that you get out of that reflection. And if you don't want to feel that emotion, you escape, you take this path of going out and exploring a new world, creating on your own universe where things are different. Or you stick to the reality. If you're feeling sadness, for example, you bear through the sadness and write down a story about this world and how it could be changed. Or if you're writing a tragedy, how things are right now.
So, if you want to take this a bit further, more radical, would you say that stories that are escapist are cowardly? Would you say that stories that offer a means of escape for people are the things that slow human progression down?
Not necessarily.
But they're objects that make it so that people won't need to face reality. It makes people impractical. It makes people dreamy. Too idealistic. Do you think that serves as a detriment to humanity, or do you think that serves to improve humanity? That depends on your definition of humanity, remember?
Yeah. I think humanity is such a complex word to untangle because...
Summarize it in one sentence.
Humanity.
Your definition, personal.
My personal definition.
Your subjective definition of humanity, yes.
Humanity is... Being human is about being kind, in my opinion.
Okay.
And being peaceful.
And escapist stories, what do they do towards the integral human nature of being kind and peaceful? Do they serve to promote it, or do they serve to...
What these escapist stories give is ideals. And it's our choice whether we can take this ideal and take this real world and make a change to reach this ideal. If you didn't have escapist stories, you wouldn't have another possibility that you can imagine. And you wouldn't be able to make any change. So yeah, escapist stories are important. And they contribute to human growth.
Yeah, but for you would say that the goal of stories is more to reflect society.
Yes, it is to reflect society, because reflection then gives us the tools to imagine another possibility. That's what I'm trying to say.
Alright, that's a very satisfactory answer.
Okay.
The rest of the question on the list, we have mostly answers to our follow-ups.
Okay.
I would say that concludes this interview, this podcast.
Sure. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Not necessarily. I was just wanted to ask, what is your view on this, escapism?
For me, I hold a similar view to yours. I think escapist stories are... this is going to be a boring answer, but everything has to a degree.
Yeah.
To a degree, escapist stories are good.
Okay.
They serve to further our ideals, and so my definition of humanity is something that dreams further than it can reach.
Okay.
Now there's a quote that says that King Ezekiel from The Walking Dead famously says, "The optimist looks forward and misses their step. The pessimist looks down and hits their head, while the realist looks forward and plans accordingly."
Okay.
Now, I think escapist fiction makes people look either way too up or way too down.
Okay.
Now, looking up and looking down is very important, but again, there's a degree. Look too up and you miss your footing, and humanity regresses, right?
Okay.
Into religious theocracies.
Yeah.
Into the Middle Ages, basically, the Dark Ages. Look too down, and we accidentally step into the realms of cyberpunk, right? The grim dark, where morals degrade and the humans basically become nothing but beasts. Survival of the fittest, rule of the jungle, blah blah blah. That's pretty gruesome stuff.
Okay.
So mediation is very important for escapist fictions. That's why I think escapist fictions should be sifted very carefully. Not that it should be like prohibited or anything, but you should maintain a fair proportion between escapist fiction to realistic fiction.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm a big escapist fiction fan.
Okay.
So on a personal standpoint, I'm all for it. Hell yeah, give us more.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
But on a more objective standpoint, I would say, like what you said, balance is required.
And I think also on one of the previous questions, I think I went off at a tangent. So the question between characters and the setting. What do you think about that question?
Characters and the setting.
Yeah.
That would be... Oh yeah, I remember what it is. Personally, I think we're running out of time here, but as you know, for me personally, my story started off with world building.
Okay.
What I did was I built a world first, and then I plugged in the story, and then I plugged in the characters.
Okay.
That's how I did things.
Okay.
So I have a natural bias towards the setting, the world building.
Okay.
But as I consumed more and more literary fiction, more character-focused fiction, I discovered that, again, this is personal, I discovered that characters, you can have a boring setting that can be fully remedied by interesting characters.
Okay.
But an interesting setting is just the prop to boring characters. It's like a stage play, you know? You can have the most elaborate decorations, yet if your actors are mediocre, your play is mediocre. You're just a very rich and fancy theater.
Okay.
Whereas you can perform at a pub with nothing, no props, no costume, but if you're a good actor, you can still do it.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
So
that's a bit to the opposite of yours.
Okay.
But yeah, good stuff. We need to check in now.
Thank you.